Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wind here in Golf Clash the game. Before we have a closer look at all the content in this video, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. That helps the channel immensely. For those of you that do want to take the next step in your game and improve it even more, you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link that is in the description down below called patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We there have checkpoint challenge, tour play and tournament guides for everyone. So make sure to check it out and sign up and improve your game today. You can start as low as $3 per 30 days. Info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1 of the Chateau Lavande. Here you have a lot of options, I would say. One, that is to play what I'm doing here now, which is to try to either go left of the bushes or go in the middle of the bushes or like in between the bushes. If you go in between the bushes, you do need some left spin because this fairway is going to slope left to right, and it's going to be very easy to get this unfortunately get this ball to roll into the rough on the right, and obviously that's not really what we want to do. Using a P8 ball here, and a P8 ball is to just help myself to aim a little bit higher up to not have to go max topspin. Now, a different way of doing this type of drive would be to start a little bit further back and to use like a max OP with a slower needle, but that is not something that I do in the video. Now, if you do have a tailwind or you do have a crosswind with tailwind, what you can do is that you can go on the left hand side. If you rewind the video and look to how this hole is built, you can see that there is a fairway on the left and then a big kind of hill or drop down by the green. And that is nowadays in tailwind a pretty common way of trying to either attack the pin or at least getting the ball to the green or by the green and just give yourself an easy ride to get the eagle. And with all the top spin boost balls and the different type of special balls that we do have nowadays, that's definitely something to at least have a think of if the wind is favorable. Now, second shot, you can see here now that we are at min line, P8 min, and what I do think in a scenario like this is like, okay, so I'm playing down the fairway. My intention is to have a short iron towards the pin. What I would like to have then though is like not having to play with that much backspin. I do feel like the more backspin we are using, the less control we are having on the bounces. If we can play with no spin or like 1 to 3 bars of backspin or 0 to 3 bars of backspin, that would honestly be ultimate. Just because I'm playing with a Falcon here doesn't mean that you can't play with anything else. You can play with whatever short iron you like, because a min line is a min line and you're gonna have the same min line no matter what. A perfect ball though with the correct adjustment here, even if you do have a lot of backspin, we'll still have a good chance. But again, if you can pitch the drive maybe a little bit shorter and have a little bit more room, that would be great. But again, hole number 1 offers many different ways of attacking the pin for an eagle. Hole number 2 is rough bump time. If you do have a crosswind or a slight headwind or a direct headwind, P2 min line, and make sure to pack the sniper using 2 right spin and a little bit of backspin. So the intention here now is to catch a pretty nice sticky spot or a funnel as we would like to call it from that place in the rough. The spins will vary depending on what type of wind direction we have, and also the club that we're using will vary depending on what wind direction we do have off tee. The true elevation is 15%, but please bear in mind that it may be something different if you're going for a rough bump compared to if you go for a bounce up. A bounce up to the left is the one to kind of go with if you do not feel that the rough bump is for you. But if you're playing from the 30, I definitely feel like you are going to be forced to play a little bit more of aggressive shots if you're gonna want to have something to do with getting a top spot in the tournaments. Hole number 3. This is an older video, as you can see on the spin boxes, and it's also before the time where we actually had any type of P8 or P10 balls. So here I'm kind of like stuck with a P6, and what I'm trying to do here is to double bounce over the rough to put myself in a spot where I can play with a wood club. Now, let me try to explain. Nowadays, the way we're playing here would be to use a ball with more power, aim a little bit higher up the fairway, and still play onto the middle pad. Why do we want to play onto the middle pad? We do want to play onto the middle pad because that's the drive that could be the most consistent for us, and then keep giving us a solid chance for the albatross from distance. Now, if I would be having a tailwind, I would probably try to either send it to land with my first bounce on this middle pad, or if I'm going on the right-hand side of the fairway, I'm pushing the ball down that side. That's kind of really my thinking. Unfortunately, with crosswind, with headwind, we are kind of forced to be more technical with the drive, even though I wouldn't like that to be. Second shot, you can see that I'm suggesting a sniper in the info box and playing with a cat. Why is that? It's because I should be playing with sniper, and that's the play you want to go with, because the sniper will allow you for a better accuracy, a better ball guideline, and give you a much better chance than, unfortunately, this really crappy attempt that you can see on getting a drop. What you need to realize, which I don't in the video, is that you have to adjust very little rings here, because it is an uphill adjustment, and if we're adjusting too many rings, we are going to miss on the left hand side in this instance. And if we do have a right to left wind, we are going to miss on the right hand side just because we're pulling too many numbers or too many rings. Adjustment is done. I still clip the rough though, but you can see that I may not be miles too far to the left, but still enough for it not to really look good. But I recommend the sniper, and have in mind it plays uphill. It's very important to have that in mind, because otherwise you will always be over adjusted. Hole number 4. Here we're gonna box in the blue rings, and this is a spot that, for those that have been playing this hole of Chateau Lavande, are quite familiar with, because this is a pretty nice groove that you play into here, where it's all about finding the backspin that works for the particular wind angle. So it may be that it comes to a point where you're using some like pretty uneven backspin amount or side spin amount, just because you want to keep the aim point, because it's a very nice and sweet aim point to follow, with having the blue ring by the bunker on at the bottom and at the top. 10% elevation is true elevation, but as I always say when it comes to par 3s, is that don't be afraid of mix up that. Don't steer yourself blind with that on a piece of paper or in a video it says 10%. It's all about having that number to work together with the rest of the adjustment. If you do need less, then use less. If you need more, use more, for an example. Now, coming a little bit too far to the right, would need a little bit more, a little bit less adjust, and we would be good. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament Text Guides for Nation Knockout 9-Hole Cup. This is 30 wins as well, which is a perfect chance for you to try out our Ultimate Tournament Text Guide. These guides are just not giving you some text on roughly how to play the hole. This is giving you detailed adjustment in all from spins, adjust elevation, curl, aim point and stuff like that. All of what you would need to be competitive in a tournament without having to spend a bunch of different, but a bunch of practice tokens on the practice arena. So make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the link in the description down below. And please have in mind that tour guides for the new rotation, Tour 7 up to Tour 13, are out there for you as well. So it doesn't matter what you're looking for, we have something for you. Hole number 5. Here you do have a decision to make. Either you go left side or you go right side. You can play Thor's Hammer, you can play Apocalypse. What we're looking for is either to have the Apocalypse for its power and topspin, or the Thor's Hammer for mainly its topspin. So it's really up to you what type of club you want to play with. Adjust max snow elevation, and in this instance we're playing down the left hand side. If you do go the right hand side, I would recommend to try to push the ball to not stay on the fairway pad on the right. The reason for that is because I do believe that a distance shot from that platform is going to be much tougher than if you play a shot from the left. And, you know, again, pushing to get the ball to bounce over on the right hand side will leave you a short iron. And I would say that in the end will be the best chance for you to get a solid chance for the drop. Second shot here, you see here now that we are playing with a long iron on the approach. I'm choosing to play with long iron. This is because I do want to play from the min line, and the club I do have behind, I do have a short iron, which is a blue club. And every time you do have a blue club, such as a common club, you can then play from a very firm min line, which most definitely is very valuable in this instance. 10% elevation, as I am on the min line. I would obviously be playing this one from the min numbers. Have in mind that choosing a different elevation is not wrong. It's giving yourself a chance to be a bit flexible with that. But in the best of the worlds, we are pinging this one in for an eagle. Hole number 6 is a very tough par 5, especially if you do get to play it in a straight crosswind or a headwind from the third tee. Now we do have some tailwinds, so I can't really complain about the wind in this instance, but we're playing a P6 in NMT. And I'm using 7 top spin and some right spin. Making the adjustment is max plus 10. We will in that case be pushing up to absolute max. Here we do want to push the ball as far down the fairway possible. For those that may be thinking, all right, why use such a shaky needle when you can play with a different ball? That is a very good observation. If you did that, you could definitely swap here to a P8 or a P10 ball, or P7 ball for that matter, and get the ball down the fairway. Like I said, again, we do want this ball to be as far down the fairway possible without risking going into the rough. Because if we do that, it leaves us two options really. It's either going to leave us an option that is going to be a long iron to pin, or it's going to leave us a sniper towards the pin. The sniper is either going to be a rough bump or it's going to be a bounce up. The B52 here, or such as the long iron, is going to become a bounce up more or less every single time. The tricky part with this one is that you can't really zoom in as much here for this adjust, and it's going to be a lot of rings to adjust. The reason for that is that we do have such a downhill play. You can see how far up we are. I'm playing this one 40% elevation, will most of the time not really be enough to compensate for all the bounces, because think about it, every time the ball is in the air, then the ball will be affected by the wind, right? So from the first bounce then to the second bounce to the third bounce and stuff like that. Very difficult par 5, where an albatross will always be considered a bonus. Hole number 7 is the toughest of the par 3s, and here I'm doing a rough bump. I'm using a little bit more than 4 backspin and 3 right spin, playing at P2 max rest, ball guideline to the hole. So it's a very simple aim point to find, trying to use the rough that is a little bit more to the right, this to give myself a little bit more room when it comes to hitting rough. For those that do want to go even a little bit more aggressive, they can use the rough that is just above the sand. No matter what though, to get a proper look for an hole in one here, the rough bump is the way to go. Sure, someone may feel like going like as conservative as possible, using a lot of backspin or like a backspin boost ball or something like that. But I truly believe that any sort of rough bump is the way to attack the pin here. It may look different, like if you go rough bump more to the left or higher up or where I'm at it, but it's most definitely a good chance if you are getting the adjustment correct. For hole number 8, we're gonna play straight down the fairway. Use a driver that you feel the most comfortable with. It could be a Thor's hammer, could be an Apocalypse. It doesn't really matter. So the end goal here is to have the second bounce to be just before the rough patch, to then bounce over the rough completely. So once we have been setting up the spot, we are making an adjustment that is max plus 25%. Have in mind, this is a drive that do place a lot downhill. So we do make that adjust, we center the ball, we are hitting perfect. And you can see here now that we are bouncing then over the rough, and that is a controlled drive to around 335 yards. Second shot is going to be direct headwind here. For this particular shot, I'm doing a pin check. Once doing a pin check and backing up, we are going to play for a rough bump. And the easiest way to do a rough bump, in my opinion here, when we do have a headwind, is to find the edge of the rough line. Why is that the easiest way? It's because when the rough slopes downhill there, it's going to be very easy to be a bit off the rough if we're looking to do the yellow or the red or the blue ring as a reference point. So therefore, we in the end are using the edge of the rough line. Would I use the same spot in tailwind? No, I wouldn't, because in tailwind we're gonna fly a little bit longer than where we aim, and therefore we will, if so, miss the rough. In headwind we won't. So we make the adjustment a little bit too over adjusted. Definitely need to reduce the adjust there, and that is the tricky part, I would say, to find the correct thing. The true elevation 30%, but I would say you could play this type of rough bump in all from like minus 20 up to like plus 30 or 40, depending on what type of shot you're playing. For hole number 9, if we do have a tailwind, it opens up for us to actually send this one if you have the possibility to use a topspin boost ball. But if the tailwind isn't good enough, or you have a crosswind, or you have a headwind, we are going to have to lay up. The way to lay up here, at least from the third tee, as we are going to struggle a bit to get into the middle pads, we are forcing the ball left, making an adjustment that is max plus 10 on the drive, and then we will apply some left curl. I still need to make the adjustment first. So we do make that adjust, and then we're going to apply some left curl to get the ball down as far as possible. Perfect ball it is. And now we do want the ball to roll and bounce in between the bunker on the left and the rough slash bunker on the right. From here, we are going to have a second shot with our Cataclysm. The reason I go with the Cataclysm here is because I do want to allow myself to have a short drive and still be able to reach to the intended spot. So setting 3 top, 1 left, and here it's all about finding the adjustment that works together with your aim point and your spins. Using a cat 6, I'm leaving the ball guideline slightly short. If I would be having a cat 7 or a cat 8, I would be leaving the ball guideline at the hole. Tricky little adjust here, as we do have the bunker edge to take into account, but once we do have adjusted, we will then get ourselves a chance to attack the pin for the Alba. Need to hurry up a little bit though, as we only have 5 seconds left on the clock. So centering the ball, and and then we do hit great, not perfect, and great with a cat 6. Could be not so good. But in the end though, we're pushing to get into a rough bomb position here on the second shot. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with Various Wind. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen and go directly to patreon.com/golf-tommy. That is via the link in the description down below. This for our premium guides. We offer premium guides for all the game modes in Golf Clash. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.